Every organization needs leaders who understand that true leadership isn't about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in your charge. This book explores the biological foundations of exceptional leadership, revealing why some organizations inspire unwavering loyalty while others struggle with disengagement and turnover. In 2002, a special operations team of 22 soldiers were in Afghanistan escorting a high value target through a dangerous valley. Thick clouds blocking all light. The terrain was treacherous and enemy were watching. So, Captain Mike Johnny Bravo, circling in his A-10 aircraft, was unable to see through the clouds. But he made a daring choice. He performed a weather letdown, a treacherous maneuver that could cost him his life, simply because he sensed the troops below needed him. And Johnny Bravo did not hesitate when his team needed him. He descended through the violent turbulence into the unknown, flying dangerously close to mountain walls, counting seconds to avoid collision. Over and over, he risked everything. But that night, 22 soldiers went home alive. Zero American casualties. See, Johnny Bravo credits one thing above all for his courage: empathy. Not training, not technology, not even the sophisticated aircraft systems, but his ability to feel what the troops on the ground were feeling. Because he says, they would have done it for me as well. Now, this simple answer explains why remarkable individuals risk everything for others. It's not about heroism, it's not about human connection and mutual protection. And where do people like Johnny Bravo come from? The answer is they've created by environments that meet particular standards. When conditions are right, any of us is capable of extraordinary courage and sacrifice. And this is what high performing teams do. They share a common characteristics where the cultures create what we call as a circle of safety. Protection, which is leaders provide or cover from external threats and internal politics. They build trust where people feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable. They innovate where freed from the internal threats, energy focuses outward. And success. Organization achieves remarkable success together. See, the strength doesn't come from products or strategies. It comes from how well people pull together. Every member plays a role in maintaining this circle of safety, but it's the leader's responsibility to ensure they do. Here's another story from a manufacturing company in South Carolina. Workers punched time clocks and waited for bells to tell them when to work, when to break, and when to eat lunch. The factory floor felt like a different company than the offices. Chain link fences separated workers from spare parts. Payphones required permission to use. Trust was absolutely low. Engagement was minimal. People came to work because they had to, not because they really wanted to. And when Bob Chapman took over the company, he made a radical decision to treat everyone like human beings, not resources. The changes were simply profound. He removed the bells. Employees could take breaks when they needed, trusted to manage their own time. Tear down fences where path cages opened up, trusting people not to steal. Eliminated barriers. Everyone could use companies' phones, access all areas, receive equal treatment. The result? A culture transformation. Workers who once felt like cogs in a machine now felt valued as human beings. When one employee faced a family crisis, colleagues voluntarily transferred their vacation days, something never done before and technically against policy. But that didn't matter anymore because people started caring for each other. And the result? From a $55 million in revenue to $95 million afterwards, with organic and acquisition growth, without debt or consultants, and 0% theft rate. A veteran of a 27-year-old, Ron Campbell, said, I never thought you could enjoy a job. When you have people who trust you, they are going to do a better job for you to earn or keep that trust. See, our bodies are designed for survival through cooperation. because four primary chemicals drive all our positive feelings. Endorphins, they mask pain, give us endurance to keep going through when exhausted. Dopamine, they reward goal achievements and progress, the satisfaction of crossing items off our to do list and reaching milestones. Serotonin, which is create feelings of pride and status, the warm glow when others respect our accomplishments or we make someone proud. And oxytocin, which is build trust and loyalty, the feeling of safety and belonging that comes from deep human connections and generosity. See, if you look at these four chemicals and divide them into two, selfish chemicals and selfless chemicals, endorphins and dopamine are selfish chemicals because they drive us to find food and shelter, they reward goal achievement, can become addictive, they focus on instant gratification and help us accomplish individual tasks. But serotonin and oxytocin, they build trust between people, they create feelings of belonging, they take time to develop fully, and they provide lasting fulfillment and enabling remarkable group achievements. Organizations that rely primarily on dopamine, which is hitting numbers, making quotas, winning bonuses, may achieve short term results, but they struggle with loyalty and innovation. Those that they also activate serotonin and oxytocin create lasting cultures where people genuinely care about each other and the mission. When we sense danger, whether a predator in the wild or office politics at work, our bodies release cortisol. Now, this stress hormone is designed to alert us to threats and prepare us to fight and flight. The problem? Our primitive brains can't distinguish between life threatening danger and workplace anxiety. What triggers cortisol at work? Fear of layoffs or job insecurity, toxic politics, backstabbing, lack of trust in leadership, feeling unsupported by colleagues, constant pressure without recognition. And the health consequences is that suppressed immune system, increased blood pressure, high risk of heart disease, impaired cognitive ability, greater vulnerability to illness. And the organizational impact: reduced cooperation and trust, increased selfish behavior, lower innovation and creativity, higher employee turnover, decreased overall performance. Now, the critical finding is cortisol actually inhibits the release of oxytocin, where the people feel unsafe at work, they become more selfish and less empathetic. Exactly the opposite of what organizations need to thrive. See, for decades, scientists believed that high ranking executives suffered the most stress due to greater responsibilities and pressure. The groundbreaking Whitehall studies revealed something shocking. The opposite is true. The bottom of hierarchy, lowest control over work, highest stress levels, 4 times higher early death rate. The middle management, moderate control, significant stress, elevated health risks. And senior leadership, they have a greater control, lower stress, better health outcomes, and longer lives. See, it's not the demand of the job that causes the most stress, but the degree of control of workers feel they have throughout their day. The studies found that the effort required by a job is not in itself stressful, but rather the imbalance between the effort we give and the reward we feel. So the lesson is clear: giving people more control over their work, empowering them to make decisions rather than forcing them to wait for approval, dramatically reduces stress and improves both health and performance. See, 80% of the employees are dissatisfied with their jobs, and 35% of the employees who are happy live longer over unhappy workers. And 1 out of 3 employees is seriously considering to leave the jobs. See, all this, the cost is not just personal, it is organizational. According to Gallup, when bosses ignore employees, 40% of them actively disengage from work. Even criticism is better than being ignored, because when they are criticized, only 22% disengage. And when bosses acknowledge just one strength of one employee, 1% only disengage. In the ancient times, the alpha of a group received certain privileges: first choice of food, first choice of mate, the respect and admiration of the tribe. But these advantages came at a steep price, one that many modern leaders have forgotten. See, the ancestral contract was: when the tribe faced danger, the alpha, well fed, confident from the serotonin, stronger than others, was expected to rush towards the threat first to protect the group. The perks weren't free, they were like a payment for protection. In the modern violation, today many leaders enjoy the benefit of their position without fulfilling the obligation. They take the money, perks, and status but sacrifice the people to protect themselves. Now, this violation of the social contract is what we call as greed. And the true leaders are the real leaders understand that this ceramic cup, the corner office, the reserved parking, none of it is for them personally. It is for the position they hold. They deserve only a small styrofoam cup. Everything else must be earned through service. So the cost of leadership is self-interest. See, Bob Chapman describes the moment that changed everything for him. See, at a wedding, when he watched a father give away his daughter, he had an epiphany that would transform how he viewed his role as CEO. Every employee is someone's son or daughter. Parents spend years caring for their children, teaching them, preparing them for life. Then they hand over to a company, trusting that the leaders will exercise the same care and the protection they have provided. And every single employee is someone's daughter or son. Parents work to offer their children as a good life and good education. Those parents then hand their children over to a company with the hope that the leaders will exercise the same love and care. It is we, the companies, who are now responsible for these precious lives. The title of this book, Leaders Eat Last, simply comes from a tradition in the United States Marine Corps. When Marines go out to eat, the most junior first eats, then the next most junior, and so on. The most senior leader eats at the last. Only after they have ensured everyone else has been served. The symbol, leaders eating last, is a visible reminder that leadership is about service. The highest ranking person takes care of those in their charge before taking care of themselves. The biology, this act of sacrifice triggers oxytocin in both the leaders and those being served, strengthening bonds of trust and loyalty throughout the organization. The result, when people feel genuinely cared for, they naturally work harder, sacrifice more, and do whatever it takes to ensure the mission succeeds and the leader who protects them succeeds too. This principle extends far beyond the military. Any organization whose leaders prioritize the well-being of their employee above short-term gains will build stronger, resilient, more innovative teams. The leaders don't sacrifice performance by putting people first, they enhance it. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, Barry Wehmiller saw orders drop 30% almost overnight. Like many companies, they faced a brutal reality. They couldn't afford to keep everyone employed. The obvious solution was layoffs. The traditional approach was most companies laid off 10 to 30% of their workforce. This protected quarterly numbers but destroyed trust. Remaining employees lived in fear. Productivity dropped and the innovation stalled. The organization weakened from within while facing external challenges. Instead of that, Chapman implemented a mandatory furlough program. Every employee from CEO to secretary took 4 weeks of unpaid time off. His message was simple but powerful. It is better that we all suffer a little so that none of us has to suffer a lot. The impact was profound. Employees spontaneously began helping each other. Those who could afford the time off traded with those who couldn't. When conditions improved, the company restored contributions and backpaid them. The result? Nearly zero voluntary turnover and an organization stronger than before the crisis. Charlie Kim, founder of NextJump, made a radical decision that would reshape his company's entire culture. He implemented lifetime employment. In Silicon Valley, when job hopping is the norm, this seemed insane. But Kim understood something profound about human nature and organizational performance. Only 1 in 100 candidates got hired. They evaluated character as intensely as skills, ensuring cultural fit before anyone joined the team. Poor performance doesn't mean termination, it meant coaching. Like an athlete in a slump, next jumpers receive support to overcome the challenges and grow. And knowing their jobs are secure, employees communicate openly, share mistakes quickly, and cooperate freely, and trust replaces fear. Kim's approach to lifetime employment wasn't just compassionate, it was a brilliant business strategy. Look at the results. This 25% was the average annual revenue growth rate before the lifetime employment, and that jumped to 60% after new lifetime employment. 40% was the engineer turnover rate before, and it reduced to 1% new turnover rate despite competing offers from Google and Facebook. See, firing is an easy option. Tough love, coaching, even a program to help find people a job somewhere else if they decide our company is not for them are all much more effective, but require much more time and attention for the company. That's what Charlie Kim said. See, it's also important to know that when the rules can be broken. Here's an example. When Flight KH209 declared an emergency with smoke in cockpit, the air traffic controller faced with a choice. The rule was very clear: maintain a 1000 vertical separation and 5 miles horizontal separation between the aircraft. But instead, that day, the controller broke the rule. He ordered the plane to descend immediately, passing within 2 miles of other aircraft, well within the buffer that triggers collision alarms. He calmly warned every affected flight. Now, on that day, because of his decision, 126 souls were saved because one person knew the difference between following rules and doing what's right. See, we don't just trust people to obey rules, we trust them to know when to break them. See, leadership isn't a rank or a position, it's a choice to serve others. Whether you're a CEO or an entry level employee, you have the power to create a circle of safety around those near you. You can choose to extend trust, offer protection, and demonstrate care. These small acts compound, transforming cultures in organization. So if you're a leader, create an environment where people will feel safe, set clear values, train people well, trust them to do the right thing. Eat last. Remember that every employee is someone's precious child, entrusted in your care. Measure success not just in terms of numbers but in lives positively affected. And if you're an employee, lead from where you are. Look out for those to your left and right. Offer trust even when it's not immediately returned. Do the right thing even when no one's watching. Inspire others through your actions. Build the culture you wish you had. And only 20% of the Americans love their jobs. Bob Chapman and leaders like him challenge us to change these statistics. The question is, do we have the courage? Will we demand that our leaders care about our well being? Will we have become leaders that we wish we had?